Good morning, Venezuela. In this video, I'm going to talk about Bitcoin. What I'm going to say is not financial advice, it's just my opinion. I consider myself a Bitcoin black pillar. That means that I have no faith in it. I don't trust it. I don't believe anything that we're told about it. I don't even believe it exists. But I'm going to first off start this by reading what Google Copilot says about Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law states that anything that can go wrong will go wrong, highlighting the unpredictability of events and the potential for failure in any situation. And I would add to that the eventuality of a situation arising. So, ever since I first heard of Bitcoin, I've been skeptical. It just seemed like a pyramid scheme to me. And I've had many people try to explain it to me. So many that I kept hearing the same thing over and over again, right? And I always felt dumber coming out of the conversation. I only had one person that explained Bitcoin to me that made sense. And the way he described it, it blew my mind, right? He said it's basically a digital ledger. And I said, like a Starkeeper's book? And he said, yeah, kind of. He said it's like you take a piece of paper and you write $5 on it, right? And you give it to someone and they give you $5 of goods, right? And they have the receipt now and they cross off $5 and they put $10 on it and they find someone to give them $10 of goods and so on and so forth. Every hands it goes through, the price goes up, and as long as the person that you're giving the receipt to believes that it's worth what the price on it, then it is so, right? And it becomes a currency, right? Because uh, it's valued at the 100,000, and people believe it's worth that, so that's why it is the price that it is. And but eventually, just like with all multi-level schemes, eventually someone's going to want to cash out, right? People are going to no longer be convinced, and that's when the dominoes fall, right? And if a lot of people are convinced that it's worthless, it can go to zero and poof, it'll be gone like dust in the wind. Um, but the way it was described as a ledger, it blew my mind because I'm thinking the guy got $5 of goods, then that guy got $10 of goods, then that guy got 50, and so on and so forth to like 80,000 or 100. Think of all the items that were created out of nothing, out of that slip of paper, right? Which it isn't even a slip of paper. Like Bitcoin isn't a piece of paper. It's literally a digital receipt, right? It's just like you blow on someone and then like literally they go and blow on the next person. That's kind of like it's like transferred almost like a virus or something like that. Um, but it doesn't make any sense to me. What scares me is I believe it is the world reserve currency. Like, they want to put everyone on a digital currency, and why not Bitcoin, right? And it seems like currencies around the world are just being devalued at such a rapid pace, man. Like every time I buy coffee is 50 cents more and the bag's a little bit smaller. Pretty soon we're going to be buying K cups like they're loose cigarettes, behind a freaking market in Philly somewhere. But as the currencies are devalued, right? People look for a place to put money. There's people out there with billions and billions of dollars. And if there was a fear of the dollar going to zero, these billionaires literally they can't store $1 billion. Where are they going to put it? Like they would have to build freaking warehouses that go forever to store all of this shit. So, they'll put it in like something like Bitcoin. But how is it that Bitcoin is even allowed to exist, right? If something's nefarious, the government always outlaws it, right? When Bitcoin was first in the news, we were told that it was only nefarious people were using it. It was criminals. We heard about the Silk Road and the dark web, and people were using it for trafficking humans and substances, right? That's what we were told. And like, holy crap. And then, like, fast forward 2 years later, there's Super Bowl commercials with race car drivers and famous actors. And remember that Super Bowl where like every commercial was crypto? Like, how did it go from only criminals, untraceable, untrackable, to being embraced by the financial system? Like, just overnight. Like, what made them change their mind? See, in my opinion, it is the world reserve currency. It was either created by a conglomeration of governments or a conglomeration of world governments to basically swindle everything, to make you own nothing and be happy. What scares me about Bitcoin is no one can tell you who created it. Like, they say it was Nakamoto or whatever his name is, but you do a deep dive and no one can actually tell you who created Bitcoin. That Nakamoto is a fictional character. Like, no one really knows who created it. All right, so how is it that all of these financial institutions are able to invest $100,000 in an asset that was created by no one? Huh? That seems very convenient. You don't think that, wow, that, like, wow, this seems like a dumb idea. Hey, let's like allow all of these hedge funds, let's allow all of these Wall Street bankers to start investing in it. Yeah, that seems like a freaking great idea, right? um, but since there's no CEO, since it's not a corporation, right, there's no oversight because there's nothing to oversee. Like, if you have a corporation on the stock market, like, there's all sorts of requirements, there's oversight, you have to produce financial reports, and there's people that look on it, and if you can't meet these requirements, you get delisted, right? You're no longer able to trade. But Bitcoin's different, right? It's almost like Bitcoin's a bubble independent of the US stock market bubble. It's like a bubble in its own. It's a worldwide bubble. Governments around the world are investing in this, and you're going to convince me that they're doing that and not knowing who created it or who holds the keys? Make that make sense. It makes absolutely zero sense. Maybe it's a way when like all of the currencies crash, right? And wow, like you can only store so much shit, so you put money into Bitcoin, like you would put it into a bank, right? And Bitcoin goes poof into zero. There's no CEO to be held accountable. There's no records to audit. There's no office. There's there's no shit to liquidate to try to recoup some of your losses. It literally goes to zero, poof in the wind, like it never existed, and you'll own nothing and be happy. And I think it's just a way to, transfer the world wealth into the hands of the elites, where they'll literally own everything. you know, eh, if Bitcoin, like they want Bitcoin to, if it surges to millions of dollars, I assure you that there's going to be people that see that and they go sell their gold and invest in Bitcoin because of the fear of missing out. Like, when people panic, when people are in pandemonium, and things look like they're never going to go down, I assure you that they will, right? Remember what Murphy's Law said: anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And I'd add the eventuality of that happening. So why does the government not regulate Bitcoin? Why don't they ban it? Right? In my opinion, they control it. And so that makes it the perfect scam because if they do control it, they wouldn't want any regulations in the first place. It makes it the perfect scam. Like, are we supposed to be just convinced that, like, if Bitcoin goes to zero, like, the government is going to come out and be like, yeah, Bitcoin went to zero. And like they'll have questions from people like, oh, like, what are you doing about it? Yeah, we're trying to get Nakamoto on the phone, and he's not answering. And someone's going to eventually raise their hand and say, who's Nakamoto? And they'll be like, oh, we don't know. And we're just supposed to believe this ignorance. Like, that would just make us ignorant ourselves. And Bitcoin is the biggest pyramid scheme, and it is the greatest social experiment of all time. And it scares the shit out of me.